The Seattle Seahawks were without Geno Smith for another day of training camp. Good morning, everybody. We have made it to yet another Saturday, although this Saturday is going to be a little bit more interesting than most Seahawks Saturdays. This is one that actually involves a game, kind of. Tonight is the scrimmage game. It is actually a game you can go attend. You can actually get relatively cheap tickets and go watch the Seahawks scrimmage over at Lumen Field. So if you're into that, then go check it out. It sounds like fun. I'm not going to be going this year. I've never gone to a scrimmage game before, but there's definitely going to be some interesting happenings. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the scrimmage game later today, and then, of course, I'm going to have plenty to say about it afterwards. But before we get there, we got to talk about day 9 of Seattle Seahawks training camp, which took place yesterday. So there was one big headline about this particular training camp session that had nothing to do with what happened on the field. And other than that, it was relatively quiet and peaceful, honestly. It was a pretty chill and not particularly compelling day. It was just kind of business as usual. I think that some narratives are starting to emerge, and they're just kind of letting the narrative sit. They don't feel the need to reiterate it every single day. So we kind of had a slower day for the Seattle Seahawks at training camp. So I'm going to talk about what there is to talk about. But before I get into that, I hope you like this video. Please like it if you do. Click the thumbs up button down below. Helps out. Become a subscriber if you're new to the channel. Daily Seahawks content. Click the bell for notifications if you want to get notified every time a video goes up. Consider becoming a member for $2 a month. Those are the best ways to support Seahawks Brendan Nelson. All right, so getting into training camp, the first thing and the big thing from yesterday was Geno Smith is fine. Or at the very least, the scan showed no problems. So that kind of overshadowed everything else. And I got the sense that even the beat reporters were a little more focused on that than they were anything to do with the actual stuff that happened on the field, because even though Geno Smith is fine, he is still not practicing. And by the way, if you want to read a little bit more about what went down yesterday at the VMAC, Field Goals had this article here where they run down some highlights from day 9 at training camp. And Seahawks.com has this from John Boyle as well. Here are my takeaways. First, let's start with the Geno Smith stuff. This is from Condota. Geno Smith took about 2 hours to show up. He was wearing a jersey, but he was just watching. He was wearing shorts. He was chilling out. Didn't do too much. But there was nothing on his leg. There was no indication that he's wearing any kind of brace or boot or anything that could indicate that this injury was serious, which we already kind of knew that it wasn't, but it's good to see that he's not inhibited in any way. It's good to see that he's not bothered by whatever this injury is. So it has turned out about as good as we could hope, given the fact that he was getting imaging done. Like, we were all, I think, a little bit alarmed when that came down. So if you're wondering the exact details of Geno Smith's status, it looks pretty good. Okay, so moving beyond the Geno Smith part of this, because obviously that's the biggest part here, Brady Henderson ran down some other notable elements, including other injuries, because Geno Smith is not the only guy on this team who's hurt. Draymond Jones misses another day of training camp, and I mean, I'm not worried about it because he's a veteran, but at the same time, when we were told that this was a minor injury and now he's been out, what, a week? You can't help but wonder if maybe something went a little bit wrong and maybe it's a little bit worse than they thought. And, I mean, Draymond Jones is probably going to be doing stuff this year he's never done before. It's a Mike McDonald defense. They already said they're going to play him all over the place. They're going to try to be versatile with him. They're going to try to mix it up. And I know they did a lot of that in Denver, and technically we did it last year too, but I do believe this year's going to be a little bit different. So I hope he can get out there at some point. Mike Jackson missed the day. He got nicked up, I think, a couple days ago. Daryl Taylor missed the day with some kind of a lower body injury. We don't have very much in terms of detail there, but he was out. And we also had rest days for Nwosu and Jaron Reed. So no injury there. But I think that was about it. I think that's all we know on the injury front right now. So that basically cleans it up. With Smith out, we got to see more of Sam Howell, of course, and Brady Henderson echoes the sentiment that I saw from a lot of the reporters. Basically, everybody who was at the camp and watched the proceedings throughout the day reported that Sam Howell was frisky, interesting, but inaccurate. He's still got accuracy problems. He's gotten better, but the ball is still kind of going everywhere. I heard this from Greg Bell as well. I think I heard it from Corbin. So Sam Howell, I mean, he's a little bit of a project still, and at his age, it makes sense why he is. So there's still some promise there, but right now it's not so great. So it's good to see a little bit more of him, but obviously right now we have higher priorities than getting our potential QB of the future ready for the future when the present is right here in front of us. Some highlights from the defense included an interception from Julian Love. He had another one, third interception of camp. This one off of Sam Howell. Love has had a really strong training camp. Devin Richardson had one as well. He's a linebacker who has... He's got an uphill battle to make the team, but he had an interception as well, so obviously good to hear. The situational football drill that they did yesterday was the offense backed up at its own 1 and needing to get a first down with on 1st and 10, with the 3 downs, of course, but didn't get it, so the defense wins that drill. Defense has now won 2 of the 3 situational drills. I kind of like this situation thing. It's like, I think they used to do this in Madden, where you could do game situations, and you have to go accomplish a certain goal given certain constraints, time, ball position, stuff like that. If you guys played Madden, you probably know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that stuff's always fun. And final note from Brady Henderson. This one loops back to the injury stuff. Olu Oluwatimi did come back. Now I'm going to reiterate this because I think this is important. I haven't really heard very much about Oluwatimi this training camp. And I haven't necessarily heard a lot negative, but I've heard nothing positive. And I have heard a little negative. So I wonder if Oluwatimi is going to be kind of playing for his job in the preseason game next week. And if he doesn't look good, they might push the panic button and maybe up their offer a little bit to Connor Williams. I am thinking about that. And obviously, it would disappoint me greatly if Oluwatimi ends up not being the guy, but if he's not the guy, then it doesn't help anybody to be in denial about it. And he was, a 5th-round pick? So it wouldn't be earth-shattering if he's not the guy. Greg Bell, again, this is kind of outside the confines of training camp, but I do want to draw attention to this. Greg Bell had a nice little article in the News Tribune. Check it out if you get the opportunity, about Rick Woolen, basically about how he's getting stronger. He's doing weight training, trying to bulk up a little bit, which it's going to take away a little bit of his speed, but he needs the extra strength. It's so important that he's able to add this strength on. He's practicing on both sides of the field, left side, right side. And overall, Rick Woolen is one of the guys who has been consistently called out as having a really good training camp so far. It seems like he knows how important this is, and he's rising to meet the moment. It's really great to hear for this guy. Because I want this to work out. I really want this to work out. But I was aware that this year could be like this could be the year where we kind of make our final decision on Woolen, because next year he'll be theoretically eligible for an extension. If not an extension, he's in the last year of his rookie deal. And I do wonder, I did question a little bit this offseason, if Mike McDonald gets the idea that this guy can't tackle or won't tackle, will he get him out of there for somebody who can tackle? I mean, Pete Carroll did it a couple times. So to see him take this so seriously, to see him take the disrespect so personally, and do everything he can to get better is great. So definitely check this out if you get a chance. But Woolen is doing all the right things so far. I can say that. A couple of notes from Dugar involving a couple of players. The first guy he calls out here is a guy who probably won't make the team, but, you know, there's some practice squad upside here. Carlton Johnson, rookie corner, I think Fresno State, UDFA. He made several plays on the ball, including a couple in the end zone, so he was actually really involved in coverage. And Dugar also had this. Bobo had another highlight reel catch, sideline catch of the toe tap variety. So PJ Walker got it to him. And Bobo, I mean, he continues to show that he needs to be out there. And it's not always going to be easy to get him out there, but you got to find a way to do it. So those were a couple guys who got called out positively. A few other guys who I saw positive feedback on would be the tight ends. Noah Fant had a really good camp overall, and he's kind of slipped under the radar because it's just been consistently good stuff from him. AJ Barner made a nice catch yesterday, and Jack Westover actually made a play yesterday as well. So I heard about that. I heard some good stuff about Derek Young, which that's interesting. You know, keep an eye on that fifth receiver spot. That spot's no joke. Or maybe even sixth receiver spot. I don't know exactly how this is going to break out. But a guy like a Derek Young in competition with a guy like maybe a Hayden Hatton or a guy like a D. Eskridge, who is still a second-round talent, you know, somebody's going to get their feelings hurt a little bit here. Somebody's going to get left behind, and it's going to be somebody who does have something to offer in the NFL. That's really most of what I heard. Like I said, it was a slower, quieter day. We're waiting to get our quarterback back, obviously, but tonight, pretty big. I'll talk more about the scrimmage game a little bit later, but for now, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Thanks for watching. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Have a good Saturday, and have fun.